On day 56, Masio and I had a 7-hour drive from Holbrook all the way to the Grand Canyon. The drive itself was pretty awesome, through more of Arizona's endlessly inventive terrain, and the destination, of course, is one of Earth's most spellbinding features. Of course, that meant the crowds and infrastructure there were something of a shock. We spent a while driving in circles in Holbrook, Arizona in the morning, looking for a post office to send ourselves the postcard from Petrified Forest. And we saw another location of the Wigwam Hotel, like we stayed at in San Bernardino on day 4, which seems about 100,000 years ago. And again, we had to use the interstate today, but only for about 5 minutes. Most of the day was on small Arizona roads. The scenery, which has stunned us so much over the last few days, by now seemed normal. On any road trip across the surface of Venus, this is the landscape you see. You get used to it. Arizona spoils you. Typical of towns you pass through here is the Hopi village of Shongopovi, which I'm sure I'm mispronouncing. It has a population of about 600, and something seems to be happening here, but not much. Right outside of town, we stopped by a dry wash for a picnic at a table. I thought some police officers were having a picnic too, but then realized they were chatting with someone there. A friendly cop came up to us and told us to wait in our car. Then an ambulance arrived with lights on but no siren, and then more cops, and then another civilian guy. Everyone talked together. Finally, the sitting guy was led to a police car. An officer adjusted a brick on the grill where the guy had been, and then came over and thanked us and said we could use the area now. And everyone left. Very weird. Grand Canyon National Park is of course a very popular place to visit, and most people go to the South Rim. There are no bridges across the canyon itself, and the long drive to the North Rim isn't as accessible and is closed in winter anyway. We were headed to the South Rim too. As we entered the park, which is also a World Heritage Site, we started to get a sense of the huge numbers of people here. I can't remember any other park where we had to remember which section of the parking lot we were in. After the relative quiet of the Petrified Forest and even Mesa Verde, this massive wall of activity at a national park was hard to get used to. It was great though. Of course people are going to want to come and see these wondrous layers of rock, with the powerful Colorado River at the bottom. Actually, I was here once briefly on a 1993 road trip in college. It was nice to be back and see it again, with more time to spare, and a better camera. We decided to go to the visitor center and learn something. First we got each of the 4 tokens, and then we picked up the brochure which explains the Grand Canyon. Almost 2 billion years ago, 2 tectonic plates hit each other here, generating massive heat which cooled into granite. Over that dark bottom layer, over the next 1.5 billion years, different layers were deposited made up of dead marine animals and sediments from rivers, and these layers became multicolored sandstone. Later, around 70 million years ago to the east, the Rocky Mountains were pushed up, which also raised this area into a plateau. And that set the stage for the Colorado River, which started flowing over the high plateau about 5 or 6 million years ago. Full of sediments, it began grinding back down through the layers of rock, exposing the colorful bands as it goes. Sometimes softer rock underneath gets worn away and unstable layers on top crumble down, leaving tall cliffs and pinnacles. It's an extraordinary phenomenon, leading to this unimaginable 277-mile-long, 18-mile-wide, 1-mile-high scenery today. We had reservations, expensive ones, for a night at Maswik Lodge in Grand Canyon in the village section of the South Rim. After driving around avoiding tour buses and pedestrians, we finally found our building. To defray costs, we were going to eat in the room, but the lodge lady said the park wouldn't let them have microwaves. So we went to the restaurant. The final Grand Canyon experience of the day was both transformative and calamitous. We went to Yavapai Point to see the sunset over the canyon. Several others were there, some with cameras and one noisy group with a stack of pizzas. It was a bit cloudy, but that only made the sunset more radiant and colorful. Masao took this photo with her new iPhone, the one she bought 17 days ago when her old one got waterlogged and stopped working. Right after this, though, the new phone dropped onto a rock and was smashed. It, too, stopped working. We found Wi-Fi from my phone at a nearby cafe and looked for Apple stores. Phoenix, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, no places we were planning on being near. Grand Canyon's South Rim was captivating. But to be honest, my blood sugar had been high all day and I wasn't sure why, but it made me grouchy. Masao's phone was out of commission again, and we were both tired from the pace of the recent day's travel and the high elevations. Maybe we needed a break, but we've got too much planned for the next few days to take one. I guess you can overdo a road trip sometimes. Tomorrow the mood improves quite a bit. We see more of the South Rim, escape the crowds, mostly on the long drive through Glen Canyon, and enjoy the cooler air and more serene vibes of the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. Plus, my blood sugars are perfect all day.